What's going on, friends? Welcome to Sabine's Common Sense. I'm your host, Sabine Franco, also known as Sabine the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for joining me for episode 2. Today we're going to talk business. So we have two powerful powerhouse women who've been doing some amazing things. First, we're going to talk about Issa Rae. Issa Rae recently made a big move with her business, right? So she started back in the day with her web series called Awkward Black Girl. She started that web series online just, because she had a desire to really be in the arts and be a creator, but couldn't find the opportunities out there for her. So she created Awkward Black Girl. And she did that under Issa Rae Presentations, but that soon got bigger than she expected, and she decided to change it to Issa Rae Productions. So as she's growing her career, she sees like different avenues and different opportunities and a different need to fill the market, especially with voices of color. So she created Color Creative, and Color Creative is basically now like a management company for creators, like writers and things like that of color, with diverse backgrounds, so that they can tell diverse stories. And she found that there was a need for it. And not only that company complements her Issa Rae Productions company because they can work hand in hand to provide services to each other. In addition to creating Color Creative, she also created a business called Radio. So the Radio company, spelled RAEDIO, like the play on her last name, is really to showcase music artists that have talent but are not basically mainstream. So because of that, she could use those artists as part of music, commercials, film, TV, all those type of things, and she's in all of those markets. So Issa Rae Productions is what produces her show Insecure, co-produces the movies that she's been in, Lovebird and The Photograph, things like that. And so her other businesses, Color Creative, who's dealing with the writers, and Radio, they can collaborate together to do projects together, and that way the different streams of income are sort of helping each other out. And the companies that have products or services that complement the other, they can now get compensated. So why that's good is because if she has partners in one or more of those businesses, but not say in her main business, the production company, now she can share those companies with someone else without having to give them a part of her main thing, right? So it also allows her that flexibility to grow and co-create with others without having to give up her main thing. And so people always ask me, like, should I have, multiple businesses if I'm doing a bunch of things? Can't I just do it under the one business? Well, you're limiting your growth if you do that, right? Because now she has, collaborations with other entities, but it may be for that specific type of business that she's doing, right? She doesn't have to do it for all of them. And the other good thing about that is that you're keeping your streams of income separate. All of your streams of income don't have to be housed under one particular business. Now, as her business grows, she could decide to sell off one of these businesses and not have to really get rid of the whole thing, right? Or not have to now backtrack and separate each business out. She could just sell one of them. And so that's the part about structuring your business in this type of way. And so the main point of this story is that she just actually created a parent company called Hooray, which was actually formerly Issa Rae Productions. And the reason why you would want to have a parent company in this way is because the parent company, her Issa Rae Productions company, is the oldest company. It probably is the most lucrative company and has the most financial standing, the most has the most clout within the industry, right? So because of that strong background and that strong name of her parent company can now help the other companies that she started. It could now support it. She could now, guarantee certain things because the parent company is owning these other companies and continues to give these companies an easier way. Okay, so the point is, don't get so caught up in when you're getting started out in your business for everything to be super perfect or for you to be super structured and organized. Like a lot of times people don't want to start because they're like, oh my God, should I do a parent company? Should I have these 4 businesses? Should I have 1 business? And the thing is, when Issa started, she didn't know what she was doing. You know, I heard her in an interview sort of saying that, you know, they were just kind of rolling with it. You know, they wanted to make movies, they wanted to make films, they wanted to make shows, and they were kind of just doing it. You know, her and her, you know, her friends from school, people who are on her network, they just got started and started doing it. And so as you build and as you see what your company is developing into, what it's growing into, and how it's, you know, sort of being birthed with the different identities that it has, that's when you can start to say, okay, now I really know what I'm doing. Like, one business turned into a different name, started off as a production company, but then changed into a management company. Then, you know, it kind of just evolved as it was going. So yes, do some homework, get yourself organized, but don't let it stop you from being a creative, right? All right, so that segues me into my next story about another powerhouse woman. Let's go. So let's talk about my girl Rihanna. I've been talking about her so much, I know that people are probably tired of it at this point, but she has been doing some amazing things. So she, back in 2000, I would say back when she first started, when she was about 16, she trademarked her name. And she did that under her holding company, Roraj Brands LLC, or Roraj Trade LLC. And the reason why she did that is because the holding company actually protects her intellectual property, so that if she ever gets sued, it's protected, right? It's not under her own, it's not owned under her name or any other business that's actually transacting business. It's just a holding company. So she owns like over 15 logos, trademarks, brands under that company. And so she did that in about 2019. She trademarked her last name, Fenty. And the reason why she did that is because she knew that she was about to get into all this business. So she trademarked it for fragrances, for music, for clothing, for anything that you could think of. She did that. And so there's an interesting story about that. In 2019, her father, she actually sued her father because her father was actually using the name Fenty, which is his last name as well. He's the one who gave her the last name. But you can't just use the name if somebody else is using it, and it doesn't even matter if it's your last name. So he sued her because, she sued him because he was basically using the name, stating that he was her management company, selling tours, trying to sell tours and trying to sell, appearances and all that type of stuff. He actually made about $15 million off of it. So she tried to send cease and desist letters to say, hey, listen, you got to stop using this name. I already own it. I trademarked it. I'm using it. You're not associated with me, although you're my father. But they didn't listen. So she ultimately had to sue. And so they're still, in the process of that lawsuit. But, what's really ultimately going to happen is that because she sued him for damages, which means however my brand was hurt because of you, you're going to have to pay me for that. And she also sued him for, false advertising, basically falsely entering into agreements and things like that, saying that she's going to appear or she's somehow associated with it. That, basically hurts her brand, and that's part of the lawsuit. So the thing about that is you can't just use somebody else's brand, regardless if it's your last name. And the fact that she's famous gives her the right to sort of protect it in a broad way, right? Famous brands have greater protection. Like, I couldn't go out and do McDonald's beauty, right? Even though it has nothing to do with what McDonald's is doing, their name is so distinct that you can't really trademark something that a famous brand already has, right? Not only that, but he tried to go out and trademark the Fenty name for hotels, even though it's different from what Rihanna is doing. They said no. Why? Because she has a famous brand. And so that's also going to be used as evidence against him for, infringing on her brand, that you tried to do it and you knew it wasn't going to work. Anyways, but I wanted to highlight that because it just shows you the strength of a brand, right? That she was able to lock that name down, especially since the fact that she has partnerships with Puma. She has her Fenty lingerie brand that just started, and she also is starting a boutique line under LVMH. So super, super famous and profitable, and now she's able to protect that and not let anyone else step into that realm and come in and dilute her brand. So now I'm about to go and interview my first guest. Roll with me and I'll see you there.
Lindsay! Hi, Sabine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so excited to sit down and talk to you.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Lindsay, thank you for joining me for Sabine's Common Sense. Thank you.
I'm excited. Let's
Yes,
go, Sabine.
you are the first guest. I appreciate you. So, Lindsay,
Yeah.
what if you had to say what your tagline is? What's your tagline? What says Lindsay?
It's really just Lindsay Smith the Agent because it says everything in that.
Okay.
You know, I'm an agent and then it's me. So,
Right.
I mean, but yeah, pretty much helping individuals grow their financial portfolios.
Okay.
That's
And
all
what
that.
about you personally?
I don't know.
Caught you off guard on that one.
Caught me off
What would your
guard.
best friend say about you?
That I'm funny.
Okay. I can see that.
Like, she crazy. Probably that.
I can see that. I can see that. No, you're fun. You're fun for sure. So there's so many things that that you've done in your lifetime. You're super successful and definitely admirable. Who is 20-year-old Lindsay?
Well, she was different.
Okay.
So when we look back at, but I mean, what I will say that I've been consistent with is I've always been ambitious.
Okay.
I've always went after whatever it was that I wanted to. And was the type of person that's like, nobody's going to tell me that I'm not going to be able to do that. 20, I was still at Howard at 20. So I went to Howard University, which was the best time of my life. HU, the real HU.
That's what I hear. That's
the real one.
Undisputable.
Yes. So I think that the college years were everything.
Okay.
The 20-year-old me probably was a little bit more daring.
Okay.
And definitely got in trouble. So
got you.
so now I have calmed down. I'm chill.
Okay. So if you were her, what would you tell yourself now?
That you've come far.
Okay.
You're
proud.
Far.
You're proud.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what was it like going to HBCU? I wish that I went to HBCU. I didn't know much about it back then. So what did that do for your life, do you feel?
I mean, it's a life-changing experience going to a school like that, especially Howard being one of the top, black schools. I think going there, you get your confidence, right? You're around a bunch of people that are like-minded. Okay. Everybody's kind of driven. And, of course, there's people there that are not on the right path, right? But it's a party school, the one I went to, right? But you still, I think if you were able to stay focused and finish your task at a school that was as distracting as that school is, I think that you could pretty much do anything. And almost everybody I know from Howard is pretty much successful at this point. Like, I think what you gain from being in a school where everybody is pretty much, on the same path. Right. And to have those friends, like I'm still friends with my friends from Howard.
That's awesome.
We still have our group text. Matter of fact, we're getting up tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
So, the connections that we've built and the support that you get from being at a black school. And I think as I went through life, everywhere I went, you meet somebody,
from your school.
Yeah, whether they went before you, after you, and it's just a connection like, oh, you went to Howard? Yeah. So I think I really do say that it's a good thing to go to a black school, especially if when you're younger you went to white schools and you haven't been in a place where it was okay to be black. Right. And, everybody was pushing for the same thing. So.
Yeah, it seems like you get that empowerment early, and then you're just you know who you are.
Yeah, you definitely gain that at a black school.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's the time of your life. It's unforgettable memories.
Yes, I mean, vibes all day.
The friends that you meet, and you meet friends from everywhere. Like I got a friend that lives in California, that lives in North Carolina. From going to a school where people are coming from everywhere.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the people that you meet there it shows you that black people are successful too, right? Because you may not see that image from where you're coming from, but you go to a school like that, and you have a lot of people. Their families are very successful, so you get to see a different view of your people.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things too. It's just it's not just what they say about us. You see in real life what people are made of. So that's awesome. So I know you're the insurance girl, the insurance lady, right? Queen Insurance. She's killing the game. But what did you do? Have you always been in insurance?
No.
Okay.
So the funny thing is, I never would have thought that this is what I'm doing.
Really?
Right? No. Mm-hmm. So when I was in Howard, I met this guy, Kenny, and he worked at Vibe magazine.
Okay.
And like I said, I was ambitious at the time. He used to do the homecomings, and this was the year that Jay-Z was doing the homecoming for Howard. So they always have footage of that year, right? And so I walked up to, he was like in the stage area, and I was like connected at Howard, so I got back there. Okay. And I went right up to him, and I was like, I heard you the person who put this together. Wow. And he was like, he laughed, and basically, long story short, I don't remember exactly what our conversation was, but I basically told him that I wanted an internship. Nice. And he was like, give me a call. And when I called him, he really connected me. I started interning at Vibe. This guy, Ali Muhammad, who's still my mentor to this day. Okay. Bevy Smith was there, Asta Chambers, all these people who are now like into big, music, right? So I was interning under them. And I ended up having to leave Howard. I got in trouble there. Okay. I left and I finished at Baruch, which is in the city, which at the time was maybe like 5-6 blocks away from Vibe. So so that was perfect. It was right on Lexington, right close by where Vibe was. And I did the internship. I stayed there, I think, like 2 or 3 years. Okay. And while I was there, I was helping. They used to have these events where they would do artists from a label, a liquor company, and then the magazine, right? Okay. And they would put it together. And also, sometimes they'll have like a clothing brand, you know, because that's when the urban brands were together. Like you had Academics and Puffy had his brand. Sean John, Rockaware. So I started meeting the people in the clothing industry when I would go up to them, talk to them. And because I was interning for these particular people, I was always in the room. Right. The right places. With the right people, right? So I just kept networking, and I got into fashion. Oh. And I started doing product placement. And product placement back in the day was I would get the artists or celebrities to wear the clothes, right? Okay. So if I'm working for a brand, they'll pay me to put the clothes on somebody on camera or on stage. So I did that for a bunch of brands. And then I started working with this company, Red Monkey, which was those $1,000 jeans back in the day. Yes. And I got everybody to wear it. I was working with this guy, Tony and Slim Pickens. We got everybody to wear it, from Jay to anybody you can think of. Wow. Right? And so that also got, you know, I made my way around that industry. And then I started a styling agency because it made sense. I was already giving the clothes to the artists, right? So then it made a lot of times the managers and stuff would be like, "Hey, you got a stylist?" Right? And I wasn't a stylist, right? I was just like, giving the product. I am now. No, so what I did was I hired stylists, and I would get them jobs, right, through the labels. I would get them jobs through the managers, stuff like that. And when I got them the jobs, I'd make a PC. Gotcha. You know, like I'd get money from the label and money from the stylist. So I did that for a while. That was doing really good. And then I started a kids' clothing line called Tiny Pants. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, we were in all the magazines, like Carrington, Real Simple, all these different magazines. And we did that. We actually did really good in sales, but we did at that time. I didn't make me and my partner, Taysha Whitley at the time, we made some decisions that we shouldn't have with how we spent the money. Okay. We could have did things cheaper. So we ended up kind of running out of money, and the orders that people wanted, we wasn't going to be able to fulfill the orders. Okay, right? I got you. So we kind of fell back on Tiny Pants. And then that's kind of when the recession hit. Oh, okay, 2008. Exactly. Okay. So then when the recession hit, the clothing thing wasn't something that you kind of, that was retail. People wasn't selling as much. Okay. Product placement, people wasn't really paying as much. The labels cut back on paying people. Okay. And they started doing these deals where basically they would pay the stylist one flat fee. So that would have to include the clothes, everything in one flat fee. Instead of paying like a fee to me, a fee to them, a fee for the clothes. So I kind of fell back on all of that. And that's probably when it was probably like the hardest for me. I was so used to having all this money and stuff like that. And everything was like stopping at the same time. So I was like, oh my goodness, right? Had reached out to me at that time. Okay. Via email. Like I was, I started like applying to different jobs and things like that. in the magazine industry. And then I never would have thought that I would do something like that. And when they reached out to me, they basically were like, oh, it's benefits. You can make as much money as you want. You know, it was kind of similar to how I moved around before. I made money based off of the work I put in. I never wanted to be in a salary job where it was like, you give me one flat fee, that's what I get paid. You know, being in a career where you can make, there's no limits to what you make, is based on you. I'm always going to thrive in that because I'm going to do what I need to do so I can make money. Right? So I have to be in something that allows me to decide what I'm going to make. And so they presented that opportunity. And it made sense. At first, I was hesitant because I'm like, selling insurance. Like, why do I want to do that? And they were like, no, it could be a career. Like, you know, it's not just selling insurance. You can do securities. You can do money management. You can do all these other different things. It just depends on you and what you get into, what you know, what you target, right? So I did it. I was like, I'll try it, right? And when I seen how profitable the industry was, and it was funny because when I started there, the introductory class that we had might have had like 100 people in it. And
that was a lot or little?
That was a lot. But by the time we finished, it was like 6 of us.
Are you serious? Wow.
Because the turnover in this business is high because it sells. You're only going to make money if you sell. Right? And of course, when people say it's profitable because they're good salespeople. That's what you are. But it's really a purpose to it, right? You're helping people. And I think that's what I liked about it. Being in this business, you really were helping people. It helped me. Like, I learned so many things about money and doing better with money, because before that, I was blowing it. I was like, what party, what state do we need to be in? Everybody, let's go. Dinner, this, that, and the third. Is the bag for $5,000? I'm getting it. Right? No thoughts. So I think it kind of put me in more of a reserved space to learn how to treat money, to learn more about just your whole financial portfolio, and seeing people who were in the business making millions. Wow. I was like, oh, I got to do that.
You was like, this is the industry.
And it's recession proof, right? Because no matter what's going on in the economy, people still need to handle their finances. Whether they need to move money around, whether they may need to adjust things, there's a need for it, right? So I loved that as well, you know, and that's how I ended up getting into the insurance industry.
Wow, that's an amazing story. But it's great how, and it shows people, like, you don't have to do one thing for your whole entire life. Like, you can have a great career here and just be like, I'm done with it. Like, move on to something else and be successful. Like, just completely reinvent. So that's what I love about that story.
Yeah, and I think just the message really is that you have to keep reinventing yourself with the time. Even if you're staying in the same business. Like, if things are changing, just like now things are turning into tech. When I was in high school, we didn't even have cell phones. They had, like, you remember you had like a car phone that stood up or something, but you didn't have like these flip phones or phones with pictures, right? So the phone companies had to adjust to what technology is. So it's the same for you, you know, as a business owner, as an individual. You got to kind of adjust to what's going on. And I think if you keep reinventing yourself, or reinventing your business and kind of fitting into what, and I'm not saying you have to copy anybody else do what somebody else is doing, but have
stay on the edge of what's happening.
Then you'll continue to be successful.
I agree with that. So before we get into like why insurance is important, let's talk about that section where you said you got kicked out of school. What was that all about?
That was me and my time before. But so in Howard, my friends that I hung around with, they used to call us the New York girls, right? And we wasn't even all from New York, but majority of us was. In my sophomore year, there was some girls that came into the school, and at the end of the day, whatever reason, the girl ain't like me. I don't know, whatever. So her and I got into an altercation, but it turned out to a huge altercation. And so I got arrested, and she pressed charges, and all the girls that were on her side press charges on me.
Oh, wow. Right?
Even though it was like a brawl of like 15 people. Okay. Or how many other people it was. It was a lot.
Okay.
Right? But anyway, I ended up having to, I was only locked up for a couple of days. Okay. Right? I got out on my own recognizance. Whatever it's called. And when I got out, the school, because D.C. is a federal, it's not a state. So it's automatically federal.
Oh my God, that is so dramatic.
So it was so dramatic. It was just like, oh my God. Right. But these girls made it seem like I was like horrible, right? So anyway, long story short, I guess a couple of them got hurt or something, right? Okay. And so they pressed charges, and I ended up getting the charges dropped, but it took a while. Okay. Like they subpoenaed everybody. I went to court. They were like, you're facing 10 years.
Oh my God.
I had to keep changing my lawyers because Howard is a school that people really like nobody's going against. Okay, right? So in the area of DC, getting a lawyer that was willing to kind of be on my side when Howard was saying they were going to give me administration dismissal. Okay. That was hard. So I had to keep changing my lawyer, but eventually we got it dismissed because it was so many different stories.
They couldn't build a case.
They couldn't. Yeah. It was too much reasonable doubt. Okay. It was they couldn't say exactly what I did as opposed to what happened with the group. So I ended up having to leave the school, and I ended up getting in Baruch before they realized that I had gotten kicked out.
Oh, so that's good.
That was the only way that you can go to another 4-year school. Okay. So I was lucky, right, that I was able to still finish on time. And because Howard is an accredited school, they took my credits. Okay. But it was much different. Coming back to New York, I was very upset about that situation because I kind of felt like those girls brought it on themselves. And the fact that I really kind of was the only one who had the real harsh issue. Right. My friends a lot of them did also get reprimanded as well. But the other girls, they kind of, I guess they said that we were like bullying. It was crazy. I was just like, whatever.
Unfair.
But it's life, right? It's life. That's what happens. You got to keep going.
You got to keep going. Yeah.
But it worked out because that internship was in New York.
Yeah, and it's almost like it happened that way on purpose.
Right.
That you were supposed to, and that you ended up having a whole series of careers from that one thing.
Exactly. So I feel like, at the end of the day, I think that also, had me be able to have a jump start early. Yeah. Right? Because I was young and I was kind of already in, the business I had wanted to be in. So it kind of worked out in my favor. But it was a lesson. It was a lesson learned. But what I did like is I was able to experience going to a black school. Yes. And I was able to really see the difference between going to a school like that and going to a regular, like Baruch was the school that was local in New York. I mean, it was in a city.
Like you work and you go to school or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, who would ever want to do this? I was somebody who was into finishing a task. Right. So that I wasn't going to not finish school. Right. So I finished. But I would never... I try to explain when people say they're thinking about going away to school or not. I'm like, you don't understand.
Go away. Definitely go away.
It's so different. Going to a school local to where you live at, it's like going to high school.
It's true.
It's the same. It's nothing different. Obviously some people live in areas where they have a state school that's
right. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but if you have the option and you have the choice, definitely go away. I didn't go away, so take her word for it.
And just room and board, like just being
independent. You get a start on that.
It's such a great experience. It really is. Yeah.
That's awesome. So why insurance? Like, why should people get insurance? I hear there's like two schools of thoughts, right? Like some people are like, oh, you got to have insurance, and some people are like, why would I pay for this? And then if I survive, like if it's a term life, if I survive, then I just paid for it. So what do you say to that? What do you say to that story?
So I really think that when it comes to insurance, if you haven't experienced someone leaving you insurance, it kind of makes it hard for you to really understand how beneficial it is for you, right? Besides what somebody tells you, right? But if anybody you speak to who money has been left to them before, they're like, oh, I need insurance. Yeah. Right? Because imagine somebody contacts you today and they're like, I got a check for you for $500K tax free.
That would be nice. Yeah.
I mean, you would be like, oh, I understand the benefits of life insurance, right? Because maybe the business you wanted to start, now you have the capital, right? Maybe the house you wanted to get, now you have the down payment, right? The debt you was in, now it's gone. So the thing about life insurance, and think about it, people who are wealthy get insurance. They got enough money to pay for their burial. Why do you think they're getting it? They're getting it because they see the value. Why do they see the value? Because they know what it's done. It's leverage on your money. Right? So when you have life insurance, you're paying a premium for something that's so much more than what you're paying. So what do I mean? I mean that if I was to tell you right now, if you give me $10,000, I'm gonna give you $250,000 right now, guaranteed. Would you give me $10,000?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's exactly what life insurance is.
Okay.
Right? Life insurance is you may pay that $10,000 over a period of time. And then I give your family back $250K.
Just like that.
Just like that. It's leverage on your money. You may have never had $250 in your bank account, but you was able to leave $250 behind.
Right.
And so it's, even if I have money, why would I want dollar for dollar if I can give my family more money and pay less for it? So I'm able to create generational wealth, right?
Absolutely.
The next generation is going to have more than I did just because I paid a small premium.
Right.
So I think where the confusion comes in too is the types of insurance that people get.
Okay.
Right? Because people are stuck on that term thing. Why am I going to pay for insurance and then I outlive it and I don't get anything?
Right.
But what if you did die? Right? And you only paid $20 for that $500K. And you paid it for 6 months. Right?
Right.
So if you paid for 6 months, you paid $120. And you gave $500K behind.
Right. You can't even do that in the stock market.
You can't do it nowhere. Right? So the thing is it's an unknown for when we're going to pass away. And of course, in hindsight, we can always say, once we outlived it, we can always say, well, that was a waste of money. Oh, yeah, because you didn't pass away.
Right.
But if you did pass away, it wouldn't have been a waste of money.
Right.
Right? And you don't have to get term. Right? I mean, it depends on your situation. I don't want to recommend anything without knowing anybody's particular. Situation. But there are types that don't run out, like whole life. They don't run out, right? It doesn't have an expiration date. And so, therefore, if you feel that way about term, then yes, whole life is more, but it's guaranteed to pay. Right? It's guaranteed to pay. So if you don't feel comfortable with the if I don't pass in this time policy, then get the policy that's guaranteed to pay if that's what you want to do. Okay. But you should absolutely have life insurance for many reasons. Yeah. You know, and one being I want to leave a legacy behind to my family and make sure that I didn't even have to pay dollar for dollar for that money.
Right. And that's also what makes our counterparts who were doing this for generations before us, that's how they level up. That's how they, have all of this. You could pay for somebody to go to college just out the bank. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Stuff like that.
Just think about the families like the Rockefellers. They fund those trusts with insurance. Of course, they have businesses funding it and real estate funding it as well. But everybody has an insurance policy. So every time somebody dies, the trust is funded again. Right. Even more money. Right? Tax-free money. Right. And the other reason why people have to have life insurance is for estate planning. If you have a whole bunch of, you hear people all the time say, I got real estate, I don't need insurance. Okay, so tell me what house you were able to sell today and get your money tomorrow. Right. I mean, I don't know any. Right. The bank doesn't even work that fast. Right. Right. So it's not a liquid asset. It's not. And I'm not saying that real estate isn't a great thing. That's a form of wealth. Right. And it makes people lots of money, but it's not liquid. So if you have family members who don't have that type of money and you leave behind 10 properties, right? And they don't have the money for the taxes. Exactly. Then they don't get the property until the taxes is paid. But where are they getting the money from? You didn't leave them life insurance because you got properties. Because you got properties. Right. But they don't have no money from the property. Right. Right. And they're not going to be able to just take the rental income without a whole process. Right. And then also you want to make sure that they're not waiting for this money, right? Or maybe you don't want them to have to sell the properties. Like if you had something like Manhattan, you don't want them to sell that. Right. You know what I mean? You want them to be able to keep that. Exactly. And so life insurance also helps in those those situations, right? People who are trying to leave assets, but you got taxes. You know, so if there's taxes on the estate, that has to be paid first, which you know firsthand, right? Yes. So they're not just giving you the estate and the IRS didn't get their money.
Right. They're like, y'all gotta sell some of this stuff to give me my money.
And then that's a waste, right? Because now I'm selling a property in a tax auction, which means I'm getting less money for it. You know, less than the value, so it doesn't make sense. So we just have to plan ahead. I think life insurance is really planning ahead. It's mitigating risk. Right? And if we have life insurance, we don't have to worry about where our families are going to get the money. We don't have to worry about them being in a financial stress. You know,
no more fish fries.
They already have an emotional stress.
Right, exactly.
Why do they have to? Why not? Think of the pandemic. This is unfortunate, but
so many people,
so many people passed away. Now, let's say every single person who died in the pandemic had a life insurance policy, which we know they didn't. Because people was all day, you know, needing to collect money to bury people. Right.
And I had so many people call me for estate planning because they're like, so and so died. I don't want this to happen again. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't ready. Nobody was prepared.
People don't even know what people have, where it's at, what to do, right? Which falls on your lap as an estate, you know, estate planning. But with the life insurance, at least while we're trying to figure it out, we have some money. Because it's get paid outside of the estate, unless you have it paid to your trust. But if you have it paid outside of your estate, at least you have that money while you figure things out.
Right. If somebody's going to school and that needs to be paid, you know, to eat, you know, if that was the breadwinner, where's the money coming from?
Because your bills are coming every 30 days.
Exactly.
They don't care about anybody passing away. At that mortgage, the bank want their money.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. They're not like, oh, they passed away, you don't have to pay us. No, if you want to keep this house, you're gonna pay this money.
Exactly.
So I just feel like if we plan and prepare and stop saying, well, why do we need this? You know, because we're using it as leverage.
Exactly.
Right. And stop having a bare minimum. You know, that's the other thing. A lot of us are like, well, let me just get $25,000 because that's gonna cover my burial. But you got kids.
Right.
You don't want to try to leave something, leave a legacy, give them a step up.
Right.
You know, help them to be able to have capital for a business, a house, or something.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people is like, you need to leave a mark. Like, we're here for that. We're here to leave a mark. So we're like, what are you leaving behind? Not just, you know, bills and debt. You know, what did you do? And your name could last forever just because you provided, and they can remember that you provided.
Exactly. At least for generations, right? Yeah. At least for 2 generations. At least if you were to leave and we can keep our kids from this school loan debt. Yeah. Because that's killing people. There's so many times I'm talking to people and they're like, my budget is XYZ because I'm paying $1,000 in student loans monthly. Now think about if we didn't have student loans, we could invest more money in the stock market. We can get insurance. We might be able to have a larger mortgage, right? But no, people are paying student loans.
Right. And that's because the generation before us, they didn't know. They weren't educated and they didn't do it. So now we are the ones who are in position to do it because the information is there.
Right.
Okay. So this is great. I'm glad that people are getting to understand this. Like, there's so many reasons why. And if you want to know more, definitely hit Lindsay up. She's a wealth of information.
Lindsay Smith the Agent with an A.
Yes. So funny. But Lindsay, you have a course.
I do.
You do.
I'm so excited about it.
Woohoo! Hot off the press.
Yes, it's in pre-sale right now.
Okay.
And it's my agent mentor guide course. And basically it's helping agents to be able to be successful in the business. Because like I told you before, when I started, it was so many people that started, but by the time we got to the real start, it was like 6 of us. And I watch, in this business, I watch people that you think are going to be successful and you're like, oh, they're doing good. Gone. You know, and so the course really digs into, different tactics you can use, different systems you could put in place, some things that get to help you not get discouraged. Okay, because I think, with sales, people get discouraged.
Definitely.
Quick, don't be scared of no's. And I think that's, to be honest with you, I think all business, you use that same skill.
Right, it's true.
And when you're an agent, it's like owning your own business, right? So customer service is key, how you deal with your clients, how you follow up with your clients, things like that. So my course really kind of digs into all the parts. I try to think of everything I dealt with, because things, you know, once you're doing something for so long, it becomes unconscious. Like,
yeah, automatic.
It's automatic. So I tried to dig deep and think about some of the different things that I went through, the struggles and things like that, and put that into the course.
Okay, good.
And so I did videos, and then I also have PDFs so that they could also see the text.
Okay.
And it has like documents for them to use to help them. You know, during the business, different things, different kind of documents that they'll need to help them in appointments and things. So,
awesome.
So it's out there. So if you're trying to be an agent, definitely get my course. And then if you have any questions, feedback, anything, hit me up on Instagram or on my email.
Yeah, no, she's really a powerhouse. When she says she goes and gets it, she goes and gets it. She don't got a care in the world. She's just like, you know, just living life. So it's really awesome. So, Lindsay, if you weren't doing insurance, is there anything that you say, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing that right now?
So the funny thing is, I have a couple of other things that I do.
Oh,
I do.
share.
So I have a medical billing business, and it's funny because people will be like, how did you get that?
Right, how did you get that?
Yeah, when I see an opportunity, I'm going for it.
I hear you.
Right? So I obviously don't do medical billing myself, but I have two partners, and one of the partners, that's her background.
Okay.
And so, you know, me and my other partner saw the opportunity, and we were like, we put the money behind her, let's go. Okay. You know, because it's a very profitable business. And, you know, we're building it, it's new, but you know, we're starting to see it build. And if I could, you know, if us as a team could build that to be a multi-million, I met somebody who had a $1 billion medical billing business. So I'm like, that's where I'm going. We know the trend where Lindsay's going. So, you know, I have that. I also buy property and, you know, have rental property and things like that. What else do I do? Oh, I also, well, my boyfriend actually has like a trucking business. Okay, awesome. So I'm probably gonna add some trucks on his fleet. Okay. So I'm into other things. Yeah. Right, but I really love what I do, and what I do has so many parts to it. You know, it's not just insurance. It's, you know, it's long-term care, it's disability. It's that, you know, I work hand in hand with some P&C people. Which, you know, where we share giving each other business. So I feel like I'm doing I don't feel like there's anything that I'm not doing that I want to do. That's a blessing. Yeah. And if there comes up something that I want to do, I'm just going to do it. Just going to do it. Yeah. But yeah, the life insurance business does take a lot of my time. Okay. So it has to be, I'm really only into starting businesses that could kind of not run themselves. I feed it. Right. But it's not me doing it. Who's running it, you know, because I don't have the time right now to completely run another business. Okay. That's great to hear that you could be super successful in your one business and you could still do other things. Like, you don't have to wait till one day, or if I wasn't doing this, you know, you could just do what you want to do. It's no right time, guys. Right. It's no right time. Like, you just have to do, if you do little things every day, right, eventually you're going to look back and be like, oh, wow. Like, I built a whole business. And I think that's key. And it's no right time. It's no time. It's going to be this perfect day that you have this perfect money for this or that. I think you just have to go for it. And, you know, do your research. I'm not saying jump into something that you don't know at all what you're doing. Right. But, you know, because you want to be smart when you invest in your own money. But, yeah, I think that as long as you align your goals with your actions, there's no reason why you can't be successful in your business. Yeah. That's awesome. And the other thing is, you know, some people get caught up in competition. Like, oh, everybody's doing it. My business is not going to be successful if everybody's doing it. But everybody has soda, but Coca-Cola is the number one. Making money. right? And there's small companies that still make money. You don't have to be the biggest one in the chain. Right. You don't have to be the Coca-Cola. You don't have to. You can still make your millions having, like, just like how there was Uber and Lyft came along. It was the same thing. Same thing. Lyft is making millions too, or billions. I don't know what they are. Yeah. But I'm just saying, you don't have to be, you know, the top ad. Of course, you strive to keep reinventing your business to be, the best that it could be, but don't let it discourage you because 10 people have a billing company, right? Yeah, that I don't start one. What that got to do with me? There's millions of doctors that need billing, right? If I could get a couple of them and make me an extra couple $100,000 a month, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Right? That's dope. That's a really great mindset. And so, Lindsay, you do all of these things, but you still are a mom on top of all of this. With a teenager. With a teenager. For all the women who have a teenager, you know what that is. Serious. I'm not there yet, but I'm scared. It's real. No, my daughter is great. Okay. You know, she's really, really smart. She's funny. We're probably alike, me and my 20-year-old self. So yeah, it's rough with that. But the good thing is, I mean, she's turning 15 this year. Okay. And I have a lot of help. Okay. So, you know, I'm never really restricted on what I need to do, and she can roll anyway. Yeah, roll with it. Yeah, she can roll with me anywhere, anyway. So it's cool. Is that the best thing in your life? Would you say the best thing? Setup. My setup. My daughter is the best thing in my life. Absolutely. That's awesome. Yes. So let's do a little bit of a lightning round. So I'm just gonna say words. You tell me what comes to your mind. What comes to your mind? Okay. So my mind has to be. Like, people say that we need to put some kind of muffle in it. So you're going to give me 1 to 2 words for these answers, okay? Okay. All right. Wealth. That's what I'm going to be. Wealthy. Awesome. Yes. Faith. Allen Cathedral. I love that church. Okay. In Queens. Play. Travel. Okay. Friendship. Have some of the greatest friends. So I'm supposed to say. See, there she go with her paragraph. Sorry. Loyalty. Okay, awesome. All right, and life. Take it day by day. Beautiful. That was good. Did I win? Did I get? Those are gems. You win. Lindsay, thank you so much for your time. This was amazing. I learned a lot about you. You know what I mean? It definitely inspired me some more. Thank you. Just tell them where they could, find you. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not really on Twitter, but I am on Twitter. At Lindsay Smith the Agent, and Lindsay is spelled with the A. In my bio on Instagram, you pretty much can find everything. My course, the one-on-one calls that you can have with me. If you want life insurance or anything like that, you can schedule an appointment. And if you guys just want to ask me a question, just DM me on my Instagram. That's the best way to reach me, because I don't really even look at my Facebook either. She keeps it real. I mean, that's the truth. But I will answer your DM. Okay. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching Sabine's Common Sense. Don't forget, if you don't have any common sense, feel free to use mine. Feel free to use Lindsay's. And I'll see you next time.